This brings me to the pressing issue of today's hearing. Anti-Semitism is not just an age-old prejudice. It is a contemporary crisis manifesting on campuses across the nation. It is not enough for individuals or institutions to merely claim they are not anti-Semitic. As my father once taught me, it is not enough for people, especially public figures, to be neutral or not be anti-Semitic. One must be anti-Semitic. We must demand the same of our universities and government institutions. This hearing, in my opinion, is an attempt to be just that, anti-Semitic. We recently celebrated Purim. We're soon going to celebrate Passover, two great indicators of our history of overcoming oppression and discrimination. Jewish students are increasingly targeted, harassed, and ostracized simply for being Jewish or expressing support for Israel. This crisis escalated dramatically after October 7th, when Hamas carried out its brutal terrorist attack on Israel. Many Jewish students who once felt safe and included on campus suddenly found themselves abandoned by peers and institutions they once supported. Students have been physically threatened, spat upon, had their mezuzahs ripped from their dorm doors, even faced academic retaliation for their Jewish identity. Jewish students who wore kippahs or other identifying symbols reported being verbally assaulted and in some cases physically attacked. Last year at the George Washington University, for example, an encampment of protesters disrupted campus life under the guise of political activism. These gatherings went far beyond peaceful protest, which we must all respect. They became breeding grounds for anti-Semitic rhetoric, intimidation, and outright violence. I personally visited the encampment multiple times and saw firsthand the fear it instilled in Jewish students. Even some professors joined in the hostility, and university administrators failed to take sufficient decisive action to ensure Jewish students' safety. This was not an isolated incident, but found to be part of a coordinated effort across campuses nationwide. Freedom of speech is a core American value, but it does not include the right to intimidate, harass, or introduce violence. Universities have the authority and obligation to enforce policies that protect all students. However, time and again, Jewish students are subtly told and made to feel that their actual safety is secondary to the political climate of the moment or other considerations. And the torture of having to wait for the, quote, process to play out is painful to watch. When there is right and wrong, not doing enough quickly enough sides with those who are wrong. We've seen that too often in history. The federal government must take urgent steps to address this crisis. The anticipated passage of the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act is a crucial measure that will help define and combat anti-Semitism in educational institutions. The adoption of the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism is another necessary step, as it provides a clear framework for recognizing and addressing anti-Semitic incidents. Without these defining developments, universities and administrators will continue to exploit loopholes to avoid taking real action. Moreover, federal authorities must demand a safe learning environment for all students, including Jewish students. Universities that tolerate anti-Semitic harassment should face real consequences. The previous administration took some steps in recognizing anti-Semitism as a national concern, hosting high-level meetings and engaging Jewish leaders in discussions across the spectrum. However, these efforts must not be diluted by lumping anti-Semitism together with other forms of discrimination at this point. While all forms of hate should be addressed, anti-Semitism has unique characteristics that require a dedicated response. As Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel once said, Jews are always the first, but never the last. The normalization of anti-Semitism on campus is a warning sign for society at large.